So, Proverbs says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. And I think some translations might say wisdom there, but I believe that the Christian Standard Bible says knowledge. So, it really matters, I think, what your starting point is, what your frame of reference is, because your frame of reference really tends to determine. It's like a lens, right? It determines how you see the world because you're looking through that lens at the world. And so if you have a frame of reference that either involves no God or involves no respect for God, and then that's a very different frame of reference than having the fear of the Lord. Now, the fear of the Lord, I think, would be probably best described as, well, it could be a raw fear, right? If you're living in definite sin and you've been rebellious and you know it, and then I think it's reasonable to be actually scared of God. However, I think that the fear of the Lord here is probably referring to more than that. I think it's referring to this idea of an awe and a respect for the holiness of God, and going back to this sort of fundamental idea that there is a God and it's not me. I am not God. There is a God and it's not me. And with that being the case, a mighty, a holy God who is, who created the world, like that's when you look at the world through that frame of reference, it's extremely different than a world where there is no God, or whether God is just playing kind of a side role in, like, for people who want to connect with him, but for everyone else he doesn't matter. Those are very different frames of reference. And so I think the writer, I think Solomon is saying, the writer of Proverbs is saying, hey, if, you've got to get your frame of reference correct. And the correct frame of reference is, maybe that's not exactly what he's saying, but what he is saying, I believe, is that the correct frame of reference, the correct starting point, if you want to have knowledge, is to fear the Lord. So, if you don't currently have a fear of the Lord, and then you're essentially shooting yourself in the foot before you get off of first base, or you can't even get to first base, I guess would be another way to say it. So if you're interested in knowledge, you're interested in wisdom, you'll want to have a truly wise perspective. You want to have truly good knowledge, and which the book of Proverbs goes on to iterate as being like so incredibly valuable. It's really, the book of Proverbs just stresses the benefits and the value and the specialness of wisdom and knowledge. So if you want those things, and then you need to start from the right perspective. And so the right perspective is the fear of the Lord.